All right, guys, welcome to Coffee Talk with Monica, VIP Babes. I'm so excited to be here this morning with you guys, and I've got a lot that I want to talk to you guys about. All right, so let's just I'm just digging in. So today we're going to be talking about, I think what a lot of coaches, no matter if, I know I've got like two kinds of coaches on this call right now. I've got my veterans, right? You guys have been in the rodeo a couple of times. You've made sales. You have tackled your warm market. You're possibly now dipping into your cold market or still trying to find your way. I mean, it's never ending, right? I mean, I will say at this juncture of my business, I'm about 90% cold market, right? People that I am attracting into my business that I don't know at all and that I get to know. And then I would say like a good 10% warm market still, where I still got friends and families that come back around. Word of mouth, I kind of call warm market my word of mouth people, the people that are brought to me because of someone that knows me or has worked with me. And so that may be you on this call, right? Now, the stuff I'm going to cover today is probably going to be a refresher for you today, or might spark some ideas for you to now implement into what you're already doing. And another thing that I want to urge you to think about when you're on a call like this, that sometimes can be a little bit more, I wouldn't call it a beginner, because it's not a beginner call. It's just the topics are something that you're already putting into action, is that think about, I would always jump on every possible call, no matter if the title was like, I don't know, social media, or if it was like, like how to, I don't know, anything that was seen like when I was first starting my business, I still hopped on the call because I wanted to learn how to better teach my team. I wanted to learn verbiage. I wanted to learn better ways to turn around and pass it down to my team, right? Because sometimes I have, like I just did a second ago, I have a hard time articulating what I want to say. So when that happens to me, the way that I would, work that muscle was listening to other leaders. So if you're on the call right now and that's you, and a lot of the stuff I'm going to cover today are going to be like, okay, I know this, but great refresher. Also think about how can I better teach my team, okay? And then I know I've got the other kind of coach on here who's newer, who right now is probably 90% warm market, right? Completely opposite than where Monica's at in her business. You are warm market. You're still, talking to people that know you. Warm market is, I'm not going to say necessarily easier, but the cool part about working with your warm market is that people already know you. So that trust factor is already there, right? They already know you're a good person. They love you already. And the chances are that they're teetering on the wall of joining you, because it's their own, they're looking for their own interest in it, right? But you already inspire them. They already trust you and they love you, right? So that's your warm market. But when you start to tap into that cold market, I think that's where newer coaches, they may see some immediate success with warm market. And then when it starts to come time to start tackling that cold market, they freak out and they think that they suck and I'm not doing it right and what's happening. And that transition can be a little sticky. So that's what we're going to talk a lot about today, okay? The stuff I'm going to share with you guys. Now, the idea for this call came from, who got their book? Raise your hand if you got your book. Look, I think it's like less than $10 on Amazon. All right. And I'm telling you guys, this book is great. It's great. I love it. And I'm loving the way he teaches stuff, and it's very straight to the point. And so I just recommend it. Hey, it's up to you. This is your business, but I highly recommend it. But in one of the sections, because there's no chapters, it's written by a guy and he's like, screw chapters. I'm just going to write a book. I love that about him. But he talks about how when people came into his business, he taught them 3 things, right? It was prospecting, team building, and closing. And he says, do you know what we teach first? He says, we teach closing. And this sounds a bit backwards, right? Well, here's why closing is the first thing we teach. If the first skill someone is taught is how to go out and find prospects, what happens when they're successful? What happens if the person reaches out to them and says, hey, I'm ready, or I'm willing to take a look? Now what? We call this the what if I get my wish question. What if I find my prospect? What if the prospect is interested? What happens if the coach that I'm helping is not ready and they just don't know what to do? Because at the end of the day, our goal is to get our team independent in their business. So it's like getting a fish on a hook, but having never learned how to get the fish out of the water, off the hook and into the cooler. The first thing we teach is the last step, not the first. All right. So that sparked my idea today. I'm like, all right. So we're going to talk about prospecting, team building, and closing. But we're going to cover the closing first, okay? Now, to me, the closing is when someone already comes to me and says either I'm interested or can you give me more details or how much is it, right? The infamous, okay, how much? I just get the how much because they don't want to say too much because they're like, they don't want you to pounce on them, but they just want to know what exactly is the investment, right? Raise your hand if you've gotten a message like this at some point. Okay. By the way, what I'm going to talk about today doesn't mean it's Bible. In this business, there's not a one-size-fits-all approach to the way you work your business, okay? The way I do it is not the same as Christina Delgado, by the way, right? We have different systems. It's not the same way my sister does it. It's probably not the same way as Melissa does it. But here's the thing is that I've picked up different pieces from different people I know and that I've listened to because like I just told you guys, I hopped on every possible call I could get on and I would figure out my way. And so what I'm going to teach you guys today is Monica's way, but I want you to look at the way you're doing it. And just oftentimes I think that coaches who are struggling a little bit, they want to like literally like rip the pages out of their game plan, you know, crumble it up and throw it in the garbage every time it's not working. When in reality, it's not like that. It's usually you just got to get like a pen. And I'm saying this like hypothetically speaking. Like get a pen, kind of tweak things. Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do it like this, but like add in this. And maybe not like this, but add in this. So what I'm trying to say is that don't get everything you're doing every time. Just because you're not seeing immediate results, like crumble it up and throw it away. Oftentimes it's small little tweaks in your approach, small little things that you change that becomes like your system. It becomes yours, right? What's up? Do you need me? Oh, sorry. Okay, I have one of my kids here. Okay, so think of it that way, okay? So what I'm going to share today is not Bible. It is not like Monica says this is the way it goes and it's the only way to do it. Not true. But I want you to adopt what you feel works for you, maybe test it out, and then do your tweaks, okay? So when someone comes to me with these questions or these responses to probably my CTA, which is a call to action, or maybe when I was flirting with him, and I'll talk about what I mean by flirting, or maybe in a follow-up. As a newer coach, and something I realized was not working for me, is that I would get that question, and mistake number one was just write $160, send. And then just be like, I hope they say yes. That wouldn't work out, because it'd be very, and this business is not transactional, guys. This business is relational. You must be open to building relationships with people, because fitness is emotional and people out there have failed so many times. Even on the business end, people have attempted to build businesses, probably in network marketing, and failed. And so there's an emotional component to this. So if you are working your business as like a transaction, to me, it's mistake number one that I was making. Okay, so don't do that. Monica doesn't do that. Number two, the other thing that I used to do that was not really a good idea is all of a sudden I get this interest and I'd start like vomiting everything. I'd write them like a freaking thesis paper on why Beachbody is great, why my workouts are great, how it changed my life, like all this emotional la 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 la. And I'm sure that person probably opened it up and was like, oh hell no, you know, and put it away and be like, yeah, oh, and probably wrote back to me, let me talk to my husband, and then never heard from them again, because that's usually the excuse you get, right? So it's funny because it was like the pendulum swung this way, but then it also swung this way, and neither is good, right? So I had to learn how to find myself in the middle. So I'm going to share with you guys my middle point. And I will say that this is the system I've been using for like the last probably 5 years. In the last 5 years, my business, by the way, if you're a coach in this team and you could raise your hand and raise it with pride that you are struggling month to month to hit Success Club 5, raise your hand. Like, because I was too. When I started this thing, I remember getting to 5 and it was like, it would be like down to the last hours sometimes. And I'm like, oh my God. But when I tweaked my system and I started, and tweaking your system is not the only thing. This is just like with our workouts, you know how you can't just work out and succeed, but you can't just drink Shakeology and succeed, but you can't just follow the portion fix and succeed. It is a 3-part system. Okay. Same thing with the business. It's not just your system right now in closing. It's also the way you are prospecting and inviting, and it's also your team building. Like it's a 3-part system, but right now we're talking about 1. But what I want you to understand is that we were all there at one point. But when I tweaked this part and I perfected this part, along with the other things, the last 5 years, I have never missed Success Club 10, okay? And on top of that, my new normal, like my new we call it the business baseline. So the one thing that I hold myself up to, like the baseline that I say to myself, like, you better do this, is obviously like 10 is like you are having a terrible, like back in, for example, August, when life happened to me and we lost my baby sister, like I don't know, that time of my life is like a blur, but you know what? 10. I hit Success Club 10. I hit it because it was my business baseline, my no matter what. But if I want to crush something, like if I'm saying to Monica, like you are capable of this, it's Success Club 20 these days for me. So I know what it feels like to be in your place, but I also know it is your job to grow out of that. And it's your job to start tweaking your system so that you find your sweet spot and continue to grow from there. Okay. So I say that because I want you to know that I get you. I've been there. Okay. So here's my system. I'm going to lay it out for you guys. When I get that question, I'm interested. Can you give me more deets? How much? Okay. Step one is here's what I do. I write back to them and I always say, oh, sorry guys, my dad's here. Dad's here to pick up the kids. Dad, come say hi to my girls. These are my VIP babes. Say
hey, VIP babes. How are you?
I'm teaching them my systems. All right.
She's who to learn from. She's the bomb.
He's going to take my kids from me. Okay. So step one, when they come with that question, I say, I'm so excited to possibly work together. I always start off with that. So excited to possibly work together. I said, but before I share those details with you, or before I tell you, answer your questions, I want to make sure I get to know you a little bit more just to make sure this is the right fit for you. And then I say, can you answer these 3 quick questions for me? And I wait for them to answer me back because I want that back and forth, right? Now, by the way, I mostly build on Instagram. So on Instagram, I always flag that message, right? So that I know to follow up in case they didn't write back. But I always also keep, and I'm going to talk to you guys about a second. Oh, shoot. I forgot to tell you guys something before I got into this. Tracking. Can we pause? Wait. Monica's all over the place. You're gonna get used to it. Monica's all over the place. Before everything I share with you guys, before I give you my secret sauce, there was 3 things I was supposed to preface this with. Number 1, confidence isn't just a plus in your business, it's everything. It's necessary. You must be speaking to people with confidence. So as I'm doing these next steps that I'm telling you about, when I onboard somebody or when I prospect somebody, confidence is necessary to succeed. Okay? And you don't have to have it all. You don't have to know it all to have confidence. You just got to believe in what you're doing. Okay? Number 2, tracking and organization, which is what made me think of this. You got to get organized with tracking your business. Meaning, when you're talking to people, like I'm telling you right now, that you have someplace. I'm a pen and paper girl. I have my book here, my pen. I like that kind of stuff. I write down their name. I write down where I talk to them, from, whether it was Instagram, Facebook, word of mouth, whatever. And then I start writing notes about the person so I don't forget who they are. Because remember, I'm working mostly for my cold market. And then the last thing is that you got to understand you're going to be uncomfortable until you get comfortable with certain things. And then you're going to have another uncomfortable. But the bottom line is you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable at first with this. Okay? Sorry, forgot to say that part before we started. Okay? Now, going back to what we were saying. I tell them, is it okay to ask you 3 questions and you give me your answers real quick? It'll take no more than 2 minutes of your time. They always write back, sure. I shoot over these 3 questions. Are you guys ready? Number 1, what's your goal? 2, what's your current fitness level? 3, what's your biggest struggle? These 3 questions I have learned that will help me battle any possible objection that comes my way. But what I'm doing here, so I want to show you guys what I'm doing here, is that I'm setting myself up to get the answers to the objections. Number 1, right? That's like literally the X and O of what I'm doing. But number 2 also is that people want to be heard. People want to be heard. They don't want to be sold. They want to be heard. So by asking someone more about them, you are now creating a relationship with them. You are showing them you care, you want to know more about them, and you want to be able to serve their needs. So it plays 2 roles, right? It literally gives you the answers to the objections because you're going to probably get them later in the conversation. And 2, you're humanizing this, right? You're not a cash register like ching, ching, ching. No, it's not that. You're humanizing the process here, okay? Now, ready for the next step? This is the part that my team always cracks up. when I get the answers back, sometimes it's like 1, 2, 3 quick answers, and sometimes because you've got like the reds. The reds are 1, 2, 3, like goal, 1 word, whatever, current fitness level, 1 word, and then the biggest struggle, 1 word. But then you have the blues, the blue personalities. They write you a book for each one, which is fantastic too. But here's the cool thing is that no matter what the person says, no matter what, I read it and I start jotting down my notes for later. But no matter what they say, I write back to them and I say, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Thank you for your transparency. Now I know you're probably looking at me like, WTF, what do you mean amazing? Because this is your pain point that you're sharing with me. But I'm excited because I see opportunity to help you in a big way. That's what I reply. And I have it like here. It's perfectly done here. It's also on my notepad because I don't type this out every time. I copy paste. But I'm showing them that I'm excited because I know I have the solution, but I'm also, I get their pain point, but that I have the answer. I have the answer, okay? After I say that to them, I say, okay, let's do this. Because I could sit here and write you a book about why Beachbody is the answer, but I like for you to see a visual and understand it fully, what I have to offer. So would you mind watching this 4-minute video that's going to show you everything you need to know? And you know what video I send them? 90% of the time, 90%, not always, just depends on what their needs are. 90% of the time, it's the All Access Challenge Pack video by Beachbody, professionally done, that they put multi-million dollars into it. I'm not going to do a Monica video. Like, I'm going to use the third-party tools that Beachbody has for me there. I go and I grab that video, or I grab, let's just say, sometimes it could be like 6 weeks of the work. Sometimes it could be Barbara. Like, it could be different things. If it's a coaching prospect, by the way, there's also a professionally done video by Beachbody on coaching. It's super short. It's not like one of our coaching opportunities that's an hour long. It's a shorter one. I love to use that one too. But basically, I send them this third-party tool. Look, guys, we are in collaboration with the best of the best trainers. We're in collaboration with nutritionists, professionals, and we also are in collaboration with Carl Deichler, who invests the money for us to have the tools to build this business. Use them. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Lean on these third-party tools. So I get that video. And the reason why All Access is 90% of the time what I'm using is because it doesn't matter what program I'm plugging them into. At the end of the day, they need Shakeology, they need Beachbody On Demand, and they need the containers. And I know the containers don't come anymore, but I add them in and I let them know, okay? So third-party tool is my next step. So step 1 is the question. Step 2 is great. I'm excited to work together. I have your solution. I know your pain point. Step 3 is my third-party tool. At this point, guys, they understand what it is you're doing here, right? They understand because the video talks about challenge groups, the video talks about the My Challenge Tracker app, the video talks about Shakeology, all of it. It covers every base for you. At that time, they come back, and one of 2 things happens to me. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. One of 3 things happens is they don't come back, but they stay on my list, and I'm eventually going to follow up. That's why I told you guys tracking an organization is imperative. And I follow up next day, right? Within 24 hours. Hey, by the way, did you get a chance to watch that video? That's it. 2, they watch the video, they understand what they're going to get, and they want it. And they say, sign me up. So what's the next step? I'm ready. That happens. Not always, but it happens. And the next one is, the last one is that you're going to get some objections. All right. Now the objections coming off. I mean, let me just give you the most common ones that you probably get. It's either money, the cost of it. It's either Shakeology saying that they don't want to drink shakes. It's either oh, but I'm used to going to a gym, or I don't know, I need you personally there. Like I'm looking for a trainer, or it could be I don't know. Those are like I think those are the 3 that I usually get. If you guys have another one, write it in the chat and I'll help you beat it. But basically, like I said, no one size fits all on how to beat them, but I use the information they gave me. If someone is, trying to object on Shakeology, I'm like, well, when you said you have a sweet tooth or you have a problem with sweets, Shakeology curbs that craving. Or, when you said you feel bloated all the time, well, Shakeology has everything in it that the probiotics that clean you out every day, it literally cleanses you day by day, and you're going to feel the effects drinking it long term. So I beat the objections like that. When it comes to money, this is where the confidence part, where I told you guys you got to have confidence. I confidently break it down for them. I'm like, look, you're getting fitness, nutrition together, plus an accountability group for, if you break it down, this is the price. If you were to go do, a class, whatever, Orange Theory, whatever, you're going to pay more than that with zero nutrition. Like, I break it down, and that's where I battle it right back with confidence. Guys, you are already a product of the product. Nobody can tell you it doesn't work. Nobody can tell you it's not worth it. You buy your Shakeology, you drink your Shakeology, you push play to your workouts, you use those color containers or 2B Mindset, whatever it is. No one can tell you that it's not real. The confidence comes from you. Now, this is where Monica's tough love is going to come in. If you're looking at me right now, but it's saying, but I don't have results, and I don't know, I kind of drink my Shakeology stuff. That's your problem right there. We got to go back to the foundation of your business, which is you. And I'm going to say, you'll go right back. If you're not feeling that conviction, it's because you're not doing it. And that's on you. That's step one. Before anything, that is step one. Bye, guys. Be good. Okay? So that's step one. This call is moot until you can get that part done. But if you're already doing those things, do not let anybody dim your light. Shine freaking bright and talk to people with confidence. So how do I beat price objections? I confidently break it down for them, and I confidently tell them that's bullshit, because this is like ridiculously cheap for everything that you're getting. And it's true. And it's true. All right? So depending on Monica, talk about Christmas. Oh, Christmas is my biggest objection. Okay, well, I'll tell you this. I haven't really gotten that this year. Sometimes I get it, like, oh, I've got so many bills. Can I tell you guys the secret sauce about December? And I talked about this the other day when I had a face mask and half of you couldn't take me seriously. There's this really cool thing about December that happens every single year in my business. The first 3 weeks of December, yes, people are a little bit more hesitant, although I'm at Success Club 10 right now, so people are buying. But people can be a little bit hesitant in the first 3 weeks. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, this is my Christmas present to myself, which is fantastic. You'll get those people. But then you're going to have this secret week, that fourth week between Christmas and New Year's, when people are done with Christmas shopping and probably got gifted money from their parents or got gifted money from their husband or whatever, or they realize, okay, that part's done and now it's me time, and sales come in that last week. They do. But I don't want you to wait for that last week. Like, get working, because if I got Success Club 10 right now, you can too. You can too. There are people out there, Mind of Abundance. And again, confidently speak about it. People need this. Okay. They don't need that new, Coach purse. They need health, fitness, that long term. Talk about that. Okay. So that's it. That's my process. That is my process. So at the end, it's gonna break down to 3 things. Whether they're not gonna answer me, and then I follow up with them. By the way, people don't get off my follow up list until they tell me to fuck off. Straight up. Like, I will continue. I will do at first a 24-hour follow up. Then I'll probably do a week follow up. And I know this because I track it in my notebook, right? And then every time I put out a call to action, a CTA, which we'll talk about in a second, I'll go back and I'll hit the list. I don't know, what's the name of the guy, the 10X guy? Someone help me. I'm so terrible with names. What's his name? Someone knows. Carletti, you know. Cardone. His famous line is, hit the list. Every time I put a call to action, I hit my list. I go back to my follow-up list and I say, oh my gosh, I was just thinking of you. My team and I are right now we're hosting a couples challenge. I know you were interested X amount of weeks ago. Maybe you want to get started. I've got whatever. And I tell them about the deals I've got. I hit the list, all right? But that only works. And a big mistake I made as a rookie coach when I was first starting is that I did not get organized. I thought I could keep it all here because my business was small, right? It was like maybe 3 conversations I was having, and I thought I could keep it up here, but it starts to slip, and then people fall through the cracks. And again, that is your reputation. This is your business. And when it starts to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, you want to have the systems in place that you can. Like, so many of us want to be like, I want to be successful at 50. I want to be a superstar diamond. But are you operating like one? Like, do you have your business built and systems built to be equipped to handle that starts now when your business is starting, okay? So with that being said, let me get off my soapbox on that. So that's my closing style, over and over, repeat, like wash, rinse, repeat, over and over and over. That's how I do it. Now, let's go back to the prospecting, inviting, and team building. And I'm not going to spend as much time on this because I'm going to say, this. Prospecting and inviting to me is just about being you and figuring out how to add value as you, right? So going out there and sharing. So the other book that really changed it for me was Gary Vaynerchuk's Jab, 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 Right Hook, right? When he talked about jab, 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 right hook, a boxing analogy. And he taught us, like, you got to give, then you come in and you ask. Meaning, you got to give value, sharing stuff, right? And then come in for the asking of business, the call to action. So my business, it's operated like that for years since I read that book. I'm constantly, throwing out there different things about me. We talked to, I don't know if in this group, I don't think it was the other VIP babes. We'll probably be talking about it in here soon, but going out there and sharing things about you, not always necessarily about fitness and nutrition and about this business and about coaching. There's got to be other aspects of you that you're breadcrumbing out there, whether it be about your family, whether it be about your hobbies, whether it be about, your humor. Like, that's a big one. Like part of my niche market is that, like I cuss like a sailor, and I can tell sometimes some funny jokes and risque jokes. Like, I'm not afraid to be out there. So different things about me that makes me me, and that I'm constantly breadcrumbing out there. People also know me for the color pink. Like, I'm obsessed with pink, and they know me for Queen. Like, I love Queen. So different things like that about yourself that you're constantly putting out there. All of that is value. It's all value because you're connecting with the next person. But then you got to come in and call for that call to action. And so when I'm prospecting and inviting, I'm making sure that I'm being myself and I'm adding value as myself. And then 3 things are happening. I'm putting out call to actions on the regular. Number 2, I am flirting. When I say flirting, I tell my team all this, it's a 3-to-1 flirting, where I go like 3 things on their page and then I leave 1 comment, 3-to-1. And I do this a lot in stories too, because stories just feels more intimate and stories feel safer. Why? I don't know. I guess because it's hidden and it's only between you and the person. But if I find a girl on social media and I'm constant, guys, I don't sit there on my phone, as much as my family tries to say that I'm just scrolling. I'm not. I'm out there when I'm on Instagram and I'm looking for a girl that fits my team, right? That fits the kind of person I am, that will get me, right? And won't go running for the hills when I say fuck. Like, that's what I'm looking for. Or the girl that's a mom, like crazy like me, a hot mess. Like, I can tell by scrolling through social media when I find them. And when I find them, personally, I tag them. I add them to my saved file on Instagram, and I'm doing that 3-to-1 flirting with them. I'm getting to know them, because eventually when I drop that call to action, I'm hoping that, number 1, I have some kind of repertoire built with them that I can invite them, or 2, they naturally, organically come and say, hey, what's this thing you're doing, right? Because we've already had some back and forth banter, okay? And then the last thing is follow up. With my prospecting inviting, the way I lock it in is that I'm constantly following up, and I don't forget to do that, okay? It's imperative. I don't care if you do it through a notebook, a pad and paper, or if you're Fran Azell and you like to do like 50 million docs, Google Docs or whatever. What are they called? Excel sheets. See, I don't even know what it's called. I don't even do that shit. Okay. So that's prospecting and inviting. And then lastly on the list per this book is team building. And to me, team building is just culture. And that takes care of itself if you at heart are being yourself and you're having fun with it and you're having fun with your team. A big thing on our team that we constantly talk about is that we like to go out there and share and invite that we are inclusive to anyone, not exclusive, right? So it's not, oh, we are this, that, like not a you can't sit with us kind of feel. We are constantly out there providing a culture where people feel like we are inclusive to anyone who wants to be a part of what we've got going on. And so that's the biggest thing that I would give you as value on how I built my business, is that I want people to feel, even if they're coming in as a person that just wants to do an energized dance party, that's cool. That's cool. Even if it's someone that wants to come in and doesn't ever want to post, doesn't ever want it, but wants to get in shape, that's cool too. And then if I had that business builder that wants to go all the way, you're obviously invited. I want you on my team because I want you to build, but being inclusive and not exclusive. And team building just naturally happens when you really put your heart into what you're doing, when you really do care about people. Because that is contagious. That energy you're going to feel is going to give you the energy and endurance in your business to work with people, and that is going to be contagious to your people, right? So lead with heart, always and forever more. That is your power. Your story, your journey is your energy and your conviction, your power. And guess what? It's all up to you. Like that, nobody can take away from you. Nobody, but also nobody can do for you. Only you can. All right. So that's it on that topic, guys. That's what I had to share with you guys today. Now, before I let you go, I'm going to leave you with one more thing that I was going to do a pop-up live on this the other day. But I thought, let me just save it for Saturday's call so that I don't keep spamming these people. They don't hate me. But I had this thought, and I'm going to leave you guys with this today. In my business, there was one time I can remember that I dropped the ball. And not that I dropped the ball, but where I was at a crossroad where I could choose hard or I could choose the easier route, right? So choose hard, choose easy. Choose the thing that, you know what, can just relax and maybe next month try again, or I choose the hard. There was one time that I can remember, and it taught me a lesson early on, that I chose the easy. And I regretted it till today. What was that time? It was Success Club All-Star. It was the month of October, so I had hit from January all the way through October. In October, I was sitting at Success Club 4, I remember, and I was just like, I can't leave 4 points on the board. I can't leave 4 points. Oh my God, because I was that person. Like, you ain't got to tell me. There's no way I'm leaving 4 points on the board. And I remember making a call saying, hey, are you sure you don't want some Shakeology? And, so I got a friend to say, you know what, let me give it a try. I'll help you out. And I just told them flat out, like, I need help. They bought it. That was in October. But then came November. And I was struggling. Probably like a lot of you guys, I was struggling. I was trying to find my way through this business. And nothing was panning out. And I was just like freaking out. And I had, again, Success Club 4. And at that point, I felt gassed out. And I just told myself I was at that crossroad. And I decided to just say, fuck it. It was that month that I lost my Success Club All-Star in the 11th month of that year. And to this day, I regret that decision so much because at that point, I may have felt gassed out. But to now dig myself out of that hole mentally because I gave up, I suffered so much more for so much longer. And I learned big time. It's still every day when I go into that back office and I see my number and I always add 11 to it. And I say, it could have been this, Monica, but you gave up. I forevermore from that point on, always choose the hard. Even if I feel like I've got nothing more to give, I'm like, I can't, I'm tapped out. I still go for the hard. Because I know that on the other side of going for the hard, it's going to set me up for the next step. And the next step is going to give me, it's that getting out of that mental hole because I gave up was a mind fuck that I never want to do to myself again. And it's a self-discipline that I learned. And I'm telling you guys, I went through life, especially this year, like life. And I still chose hard. So I know that I'm going to have people come into the business that they're not going to choose hard because it's just not their goals right now. But I know that's not you. It's not VIP Babes. You're in here because you want to go all the freaking way. So I'm going to leave you with the message of choose hard because you're going to have to choose. Maybe this month, maybe next month, maybe a year from now. But you're going to be at that crossroad. You're going to think of me. And I'm going to remind you. You can do the hard. All right. Peace out. VIP Babes. Love you. Love you guys. Let's keep rocking this group. You guys have me so fired up. Just so you know, all the girls that put this group together along with me, we write in our private little chat. We're like, oh my God, I love these girls. Oh my God, I needed this just as much as they did. Like, we love you guys. Let's keep rocking our businesses. 2020 coming. Bye, guys. Woo. I want to.
Wait, Monica, take